And as soon as you go up there, yeah, ready when you are.
One song, 3.5 minutes long, 80 words in total. Now, these numbers mean something to anyone who identifies himself as American. For most people, they mean freedom, justice, and liberty. And granted, there are always people who do not believe this, and these people feel oppressed. They feel the need to speak up and change the bad aspects of society that they see. One of these people is Colin Kaepernick, the man behind the NFL protests that have taken the league by storm. And everyone has some knowledge about these protests, whether that is watching football, the news, or scrolling through social media. I believe the problem with these protests is that they are no longer an advocacy for the change of police brutality. They have become something greater. They now surround numerous societal issues, and this is a problem. The issue that I will be focusing on is the fact that due to the timing of the protests, they look offending to the United States military. A sign of the problem is that the fact that these protests started by Colin Kaepernick on August 29th, 2016, have been transformed into something much larger than his original intent. In an interview with KTVU on the 29th of August, Kaepernick stated that I am trying to bring awareness to the injustices in our society. While advocating for change is a good way to better society, Kaepernick chose the wrong moment to do so, as evidenced by the reactions of the fans, veterans, and media. An effect of these protests being demonstrated during the playing of the national anthem is that it isolates former veterans turned players like Alejandro Villanueva. A former Army Ranger who bounced around the NFL before landing with the Pittsburgh Steelers, Villanueva has had a lot to say about the national anthem protest to reporters for ESPN. In a post-game interview on August 29, 2016, Villanueva said that he believes the problem with the protests is the timing. In the same interview, he says, I don't know if the most effective way is to sit down during the national anthem with a country that provides you freedom, provides you $12 million a year, when there are black minorities that are dying overseas for less than $20,000 a year. The way these protests were carried out shows us that athletes were unaware about how to truly get their point across and cause change. If Kaepernick had gone about this in some other way, I believe he could have truly done something instead of just getting people talking. And here lies the core of my argument, that all he has really accomplished is getting the nation talking about the manner in which he protests, not what he is actually protesting about. And this is evident when you ask yourself, what has he accomplished? And this is not to say that Kaepernick has only knelt, because one thing he has done is donated to various organizations that he deemed worthy. And this is a commendable endeavor. But his practice of kneeling is more prevalent because it is what the media shows the public. The extent of this problem is that this movement has spread into other sports, causing controversy everywhere. On September 19, 2016, United States women's national team member Megan Rapinoe started to kneel during games where the United States played other countries. In an interview with New York Times writer Victor Mather, the midfielder stated that she was doing it because she wanted to show support for Kaepernick. This is a problem because her country asked her to play for them, yet she still knelt for the song that her country takes the most pride in. In the article, Mather said that the whole issue was made worse when she stood for Croatia's national anthem, but she knelt for her own. Rapinoe's decision, just like Kaepernick's, polarized and divided many fans. Megan Rapinoe has the same issue as Kaepernick, as she began to start to actually change the areas that she saw that needed it, by donating money, but then she chose to focus more on kneeling for the issue. Rapinoe made the decision to donate 1% of her $168,000 salary to charity. 1% of her salary is a little less than $2,000. The money goes to the Common Goal movement, which is an initiative that involves players pledging a percentage of their salary to various charities. The United States Soccer Federation was extremely unhappy about Rapinoe's decisions. In a series of statements released through ESPN, U.S. Soccer said that representing your country on the national scale is an honor for everyone involved. As the national anthem is a symbol of our country, it is expected that players and coaches stand and honor the flag while the anthem is played. In a situation like this, everyone is affected, but I believe the two groups of people that are affected the most are military veterans and fans of the NFL. In an interview for Esquire magazine on November 17th, a former Green Beret named Michael Rodriguez was asked about his opinions on the protests. In the interview, he says, these people kneeling are completely ignorant of what oppression truly is. In all those dark corners of the world where you find the military presence of the United States, the flag represents safety. And if these guys knew true struggle, they would be helping, not dividing the nation. Rodriguez brings up a valid point, that while these football players may have had troubled lives, they grew up in the United States. And growing up here, they did not have to deal with the hardships that people in other countries face. Yet veterans are not the only group that are affected. Fans of the game have also voiced their opinions about these protests. These comments, found in a New York Times article written by Catherine Seeley and Bill Pennington on September 24, 2017, range from both sides are wrong on the issue to there are things wrong in this country, but there are better ways to show it, as the player's message is not coming through clearly. The problem that both fans and veterans have with these protests is the fact that they're an unnecessary distraction. And now that I've stated my argument as to how these protests are being made in the wrong way, I will outline my solution to the problem. The main problem of this entire issue is the timing and the manner of these protests. Since Colin Kaepernick chose to protest in this way, he influenced other athletes across the sports world to protest exactly as he did. This caused a chain reaction of no one accomplishing any real change. Athletes were only kneeling. The solution for this is for Kaepernick and other athletes to use their off-the-field platforms to reach out to the communities and change what they want. This solution fixes everything, because if the athletes give back to the causes that can help the community, they can accomplish the change that they are kneeling for. Kaepernick and Rapinoe started this process as they both gave money to certain organizations. They just need to take it further. Implementing this solution all depends on the dedication of the athletes. In the journal Playing and Protesting by Peter Kaufman and Eli Wolf, one way to solve the problem where people do not know how to properly achieve something is to provide information. One thing commissioners of each sport could do is send out a letter saying something along the lines of, instead of taking the protest to the field, why don't athletes who want to make a difference use their off-the-field platforms to influence the areas of the community that need it? And say this letter was a no, and Kaepernick was a recipient of it. When he gets this letter, he decides that he wants to be the change that he wants to see. Now Kaepernick has options. He could use post-game interviews to bring awareness to the issues and start to give time and money to organizations that support the causes that he does. Another thing Kaepernick could do is go out himself and work with homeless people or something like that. A possible plan for this whole solution goes as follows. Step 1, inform the players about how they can influence and change. Step 2, the player decides how to deal with the issue off the field. And step 3, the player forces the change and follows through with the decisions he makes. Now that you've heard my solution, I will discuss some possible outcomes for it. Say the athlete follows the plan and they achieve everything they protested for. In Kaepernick's case, I believe it is easy to see a better society, one that is equal and one where everyone has a voice. Everyone is also treated fairly by police. Kaepernick stated in an interview on September 27, 2017, that he was giving people a voice, especially those that did not have one. If a solution like this were implemented, everyone would have a voice. I think we can all agree that the flag and the military are not the issue here. The issue is the manner of the protests. Protests like these have a lot of undesirable effects, like causing numerous societal issues, isolating players, causing a general disinterest in sports. Protesting in the correct way is an important skill to have so everyone knows how to go about making change. We all need to be able to protest in the right way, not just kneel on field. Keeping this in mind, I challenge all of you that the next time you have an issue that you want to protest or disagree with, you ask yourself, am I going about this in the right way?